You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals Nigel, Tom, and Jake this evening. Folks, episode 69 coming at you. Nice. Quick reminder, you know the drill. Follow the social medias, folks. You can find us on all of them with the handle at Let's Go Buff Pod. Tom, how many F's?
Spy.
Does that mean two and something?
Yes. Yes.
German, right?
Yeah, very
German?
good. Yes.
All right.
Exotic here.
Hell yeah, dude. At Let's Go Buff Pod. That is buff with, I'm going to just help everybody out, 2 F's. You can find us on all of them. Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, we're on it. And if you're watching on YouTube, folks, please give us a little like, drop a comment. Helps us out with that good old algorithm. Let's get around here and say hello to the fellas. Tom, how we doing, Pally?
I'm great, dude. I'm great. We're in a full-on Thanksgiving season, and I'm about it.
Hell yeah, dude.
This is my time. I love this week. It's so freaking good. So I'm fantastic, dude.
Absolutely. Torpedo, What's going on, my guy?
Oh, God, I'm the other end of the spectrum. I do love this time of year, but we are hosting in our very new house. So we are a little up shit creek, but I'm good otherwise. And I'm excited to be here bye week talking Buffalo sports with you guys.
Hell yeah, boys. Before we open a beverage, guys, should we get your top Thanksgiving food real quick?
Oh yeah, clearly there's one answer and it's stuffing. There's no other answer, and either one of you say anything different, I'm leaving.
Well, now wait a second, because we have to open up the can of worms here. Do we include desserts with that, or is it just the dinner stuff?
Sure,
No,
my answer
include it. I think include it.
Okay, so Tom still sticks with stuffing then.
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10. Yep, there's no better answer.
Jake, what do you got?
Well, I also do very much like stuffing, but I don't like stuffing by itself. I like stuffing with everything else going on the plate. But with that said, I'll give a different answer. My Aunt Vonna used to make scalloped sweet potatoes with a ton of heavy cream, and it was so good. So good. Yeah, that's my favorite dish from
I'd eat almost anything that Vonna made. So
Well, boys, I'll tell you both right now, if push really came to shove, I would probably sacrifice either one of you for a good pecan pie.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Ooh.
I'm a huge pecan pie guy. So
dude, can I tell you what Megan is making for Thanksgiving?
Is it going to make me upset? Because I think my Thanksgiving this year is probably going to be Chinese food.
I'll send you.
You got to find yourself one, pal.
I know. Yeah. Jake, what do you got?
I'll send you a piece. So for dessert, a cheesecake, but with a pecan pie crumble topping on top.
Come on,
Megan, what are you doing to us?
That sounds honestly, dude. That feels so on brand for Megan. Just the most badass dessert ever, dude. I'm 0% shocked.
I'm a lucky man.
Well, now that we're all good and hungry, boys, should we pop a beverage here?
Please. Count us down, buddy.
Please. Tom says, ready, 3, 2, 1.
But does Nigel, you have a beer this week.
Hey,
my buddy, nice job.
I did it.
Can you start us off?
Wow, man, I really could have gotten away with it. It is not a beer. So here's the story. Right? I know. I wanted to see, and I was very deliberate about covering up the LaCroix. I just wanted to see if I could get away with it, and I absolutely could have.
Yeah.
But. So here's what actually did happen. I did grab a 6-pack of a lager from the local grocery store here. I did, and dude, I'll be honest with you. I tried one and was like, this is one of the worst beers I've ever had. And I just said, forget the rest. So instead of putting myself through a beer that I really don't like, I'm going to drink something that I actually do enjoy. So I did try, but
the judgment is real. We need punishment absolutely next week.
Dude, there's nobody said anything yet.
I've said lots. So
Maybe we should send it to the
I'm gonna
social
find
medias.
some burner accounts and I'm just gonna start posting some
There you
real
go.
terrible shit.
We'll
Well,
have to,
I have a beer,
yeah.
so no shush, you Mr. LaCroix. I have a beer. It's called Bonafide Pale Ale, which I thought was appropriate for this week, pals. And it's from Oregon. It's not a Vermont beer, so I'm a little off brand, but it was left by we had some friends over to come watch the Patriots and Dolphins kind of suffer with each other, so it was good. I want to say it was my one of my schmuck Patriots friends and his lovely fiance Jane. So shout out Jane, and not my schmuck Patriots fan. So yeah.
Any fun words you want to throw in front of your wife, Patriots fan?
No, my lovely, beautiful, and amazing and supportive wife. Yeah.
That was so mean.
That was so cold. I'm so sorry. I love you, Katie. I really do. I don't know how to segue from that.
You're about 2.5 hours away, so you can fuck right up.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, it's your turn, buddy. What are you drinking? That's how
I have a beer that has my Thanksgiving outfit on the can. It's called Leisure Suit.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yes.
That is so good. God, I wish you actually had a suit that looked like that.
Dude,
who's to say he doesn't?
That's very fair. I've never seen Jake on Thanksgiving Day, so
that's true.
Yeah,
it's good.
Awesome, boys. For the first time ever in a trillion years, Tom, you might yell at me. Can we actually? Can we start with the Sabres?
Yeah, I do. I want to do that. That sounds great.
Let's start with the Sabres, just because we don't know how many times we're gonna have a podcast where we feel good about them. Right? So folks, write it down. Today is it's November 25th, 2024. And this was actually true as of yesterday too, but we're telling you about it on the podcast. The Sabres are sitting in a playoff spot. If the season were to end today, your Buffalo Sabres would make the playoffs. Now, nice. We're only a quarter of the way through the season, if that. So there's still so incredibly much that can change. But I think it's been a hot minute since this team has been in this position around Thanksgiving. Now, I also want Tom, real quick, go ahead.
Before we move beyond this is my one NHL hockey fact that I know that Jake has taught me. Guys, what week is it?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving week, and what do we always want to be in Thanksgiving week?
Playoff spot.
In a playoff spot. All right, there we go. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, I believe Jake's wise words are you can't make the playoffs at Thanksgiving, but you can definitely prevent yourself from making the playoffs.
We have not prevented ourselves from not making the playoffs by Thanksgiving. So, I guess it's not Thursday yet, so there's still time.
True.
But right,
and folks, not even you should, Tom, because not even are we just in a wild card spot. We are chilling very comfortably as of the recording of this podcast at 7:40 p.m. Eastern time. We are sitting in third in the Atlantic Division, which is just, Jake, what is it?
It is absurd. I don't want to rain on parades. However, Tampa Bay has played 19 games. We've played 21. So they have 2 games in hand. They're only a point behind, and they are up 4-1 against the Colorado Avalanche right now. So you are technically correct that we are in third place in the division, and technically correct is the best kind of correct, but it will not stand beyond the next 2 hours. And I'm sorry to say that. I know. I'm such a downer. I'm such a downer. I can't help it. I have to be realistic.
He's got it in his bones. Pessimism.
God, I was even ready to enjoy the last 2 hours of it.
Yeah.
Man, Jake.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
Do you like it? Do you enjoy kicking puppies too, dude? Or what's your vibe?
As long as I can get some good height on them,
yeah. Oh no.
All
right, well, boys, talk to me about it. So what's changed, right? That last week it was doom and gloom, send them home, rack it up, don't do it. And now we have a different week. So we went to the West Coast, went on our little West Coast tour, which we were kind of hey, we had a little bit of optimism, but okay, let's not go out there and make a fool of ourselves, but let's just get home with a couple points. Mm-hmm. And I think they did more than that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Jake, go ahead.
We recorded last after the Philadelphia game, and Tom, you and I watched that. I know Nige watched it too, and it was a tough game to watch. They didn't look good. Yeah, just got outclassed, outplayed. You lost a couple of guys with some injuries and things like that. So every team in the league has games that are just stinkers every year. You hope your team avoids them where you can, but it is just not possible. The Rangers got blown out the other night, like that. Those games happen. So I think juxtaposition wise, last week we were talking about, off the back of that, we were talking about where they were, and it was a little doom and gloom. And historically, West Coast trips have not treated the team very nicely. So there was a bit of a, oh God, here comes the gauntlet. So now here on the other side of the West Coast trip, things went well. Things went best case scenario points wise, and a good looks from the team throughout. I think there's some warts that we'll get into, but overall, you come away from the trip with 6 points. Things are
out of how many possible?
6.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say that's about as good
bad
as you could do.
Yeah, and I think the really big thing that you touched on there, Jake, that I think is super important was the way that we won those games, right? I think, so to just kind of dive into it here before we get into some other like newsy type things, but LA was the toughest game of the 3 in terms of standings and stuff like that, in terms of team on paper. That's a good team right now, and they are also comfortably in a playoff spot. And I thought, first and foremost, shout out UPL in that game. His first shutout of the season, he looked unbelievable that game. I thought, I honestly felt like in that game, he made the goaltending position look easy. And I think when goalies are doing that, the thing that they're doing the best at in that moment is just their positioning and reading of the game in front of them. When you're in the proper position, any save is really easy, right? And that's, why shots like, one-timers and stuff like that are so huge in the game of hockey, because it's the quickest way to catch the goalie out of position, right? But, no matter what the shot is, if the goalie is in a good position for that shot, the save can be easy. And I felt like everything that he faced that night looked very easy. His positioning was spot on. And I felt like the game looked like it was moving in slow motion for him a lot of the time.
Yeah, he looked incredible, and he kept the game competitive. Without him playing the way he did, they're not coming away from that.
Made several huge saves.
And the team in front of him could only muster 1 goal. Tough to do that against a team like LA without your leading scorer at the time, but yeah, he really kept him in that game and stole the 2 points, I thought, from LA on the road. Because that team 100%. Also has been, since Jim Hiller, I think,
head something coach, like that. Yeah.
Since he took over, the team has an insane home record. They flashed it on the broadcast. I can't remember the exact numbers, but very much a stalwart team to play against at home. So huge props to come away with 2 points there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the next 2 games, I think. Oh, real quick, with the Kings there. Another power play goal from Zucker to end up being the game winner there. He's looked really, really, really nice on the power play. And the other day I was listening to After the Whistle podcast with Andrew Peters and Craig Gervais. And Jake, I know you're not a huge fan there, but they were talking this season about the Jason Zucker signing, and signing a guy like Jason Zucker to a deal that we did of $5+ million. What did that successful season need to look like for him? And they kind of settled like somewhere around 50 points, give or take a few, maybe 50 to 55, somewhere in there. And as of right now, I believe last I looked, Jason Zucker is on pace for like 51 or 52 points, which is absolutely awesome. He's looked great on the power play. Not a ton of power play goals, less than I thought he had, but still being a great net foot presence. And Jason Zucker's been a very pleasant addition this season.
Yeah, 14 points through 21 games. You cannot ask for more from him. He's on pace for one of his best seasons in the NHL. So
yeah,
we'll see if that continues. But he's in a environment that I think lends itself well to scoring. So he very well could. For sure. Been a great addition so far. Totally worth the $5 million. That was something I remember us talking about. We were like, oh, is Jason Zucker worth $5 million in 2024? I don't know. But
yeah. So
worth
far,
every cent so far.
Exactly. Yeah. So after that nice little Kings dub there, we transitioned over to Anaheim. And that game, another dub, 3-2 in overtime. And I'll kind of lump this in with the following game as well, the San Jose game, because they share a common theme that to me is 100% an ingredient that is necessary for a team to make any kind of a playoff run. And that is a little bit of resiliency, the ability to bounce back when shit goes south, because in both of those games, we experienced a come from behind win there. Against Anaheim, we went down early 2-0. And then the final minute of the second period. Now, goals in the final minute of a period can be backbreakers in and of themselves. But for us to get 2 in the final minute of that second period against Anaheim, absolutely huge. A solid third period there. And then shout out Jiri Kulich, dude, who I think has looked real nice playing in Buffalo, getting that overtime dub on a great shot there, off a nice rebound from Owen Power.
Yeah, for sure. And UPL again in that game kept it a minute. There were, before the Sabres scored any goals at all, Anaheim was up 2-0, and Anaheim was buzzing around. There were a couple opportunities where I really thought, okay, this is going to be 3-0 and this game's out of reach. He kept him in the game, allowed them a chance to be resilient, like you said. And on the Jiri Kulich, I'm trying to find the stats I saw, but yeah, I agree. He's great. He's particularly good 5-on-5. Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I've liked the look of his game a lot, dude. He looks, for a young guy, man. And I remember hearing about this when we drafted him, man. But for a young guy, he looks freaking strong on his skates, dude. Like, I don't see him getting bumped around too much, man. He looks like he just has a powerful frame and really great contact balance, particularly with the puck, dude. And then you add into that, dude, the shot that he has. It's an absolutely elite shot. And I don't know, man, like, I'll tell you what, I have absolutely zero desire to see him go back down to Rochester at this point. I really hope he stays. Who knows what'll end up happening? I wouldn't be shocked if they sent him back down, but I like his game a lot right now, dude.
I do too. Yeah, he's got a big frame. He's a bull out there. I found the stats I saw earlier. So with Kulich on the ice against Anaheim, they outshot the Ducks 10-2. This is all 5-on-5 numbers. Outshot the Ducks 10-2. Outchanced Anaheim 10-4, and expected goal share was 75% in the Sabres' favor.
I mean, dude,
great numbers.
That's killer. Yeah.
That's what he's done in Rochester. Awesome. That's what he's done in Rochester all last 2 years. I think he's been down there. So yeah. Keep him up. Scratch one of the other guys, rotate some other guys in. Aube Kubel, Lafferty. Keep him in the lineup when Tage comes back. That's all I have to say.
I completely agree, dude. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. So yeah, nice to see Kulich get his play rewarded with a nice OT dub there. And then we bump over to San Jose. You could also call this the James Reimer game, dude. I mean, holy Lord above. He was absolutely unbelievable, dude. I think probably earned the nickname. This one's for you, Tom. I think we'll go with Optimus Rhyme, dude.
Hell yeah.
He was
awesome.
He was unbelievable, Jake. What did you think?
Yeah, he was great. I saw that one windmill save that you sent the group chat.
I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't watch the whole game, unfortunately, but yeah, incredible save. He played 2 games for Anaheim before he came back to Buffalo on waivers, and he did not look or play well. The numbers weren't good. Eye test wasn't good, but he's also playing in front of an Anaheim team that shouldn't be that good of a team this year. There's a lot of young talent there, but they're not progressing. When a team's rebuilding like Anaheim, you want to see the younger players stepping up, even if you're losing. But that's really not happening there. It's some of the older guys that are carrying the team through whatever success they have. So, anyways, but with Reimer, yeah, I mean, you like to think a better environment he's playing in front of, and he looked good. I mean, it justifies sending Levi down and getting him some playing time. I think you can trust him with back-to-backs like that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And I still think, I still imagine. I mean, if you were to extrapolate the UPL Reimer tandem over a full 82-game season, I bet it's probably going to look like 60 games for UPL and the rest going to Reimer there. That's what I imagine this split will kind of resemble. As long as it is the split, I think UPL has very much earned the role of the number 1 goalie on this team, despite a great game from James Reimer. I don't really think we've seen enough of a sample size of James Reimer ever being a consistent starter in this league. So I think that split will probably heavily favor UPL, but you're right, Jake. It'll just be good to have him, for those back-to-backs and, every now and again when you want to get your starter a rest there. Anywhere you want to add in on the goalies there, Jake, or should we just talk about this game a little bit more?
No, I just real quick, I agree with you. I think Reimer should be the backup. I think UPL has lock and key locked up the starting position for sure. He's 13th in the NHL in goals saved above expected. He's playing well. Ride him as long as you can. Yeah, I don't care. It's not good to play goalies more than 60, 65 games, but if that's going to get you in the playoffs, I don't particularly care this year.
He's young. He'll be fine. So in addition to being the Optimus Rhyme game there, excuse me again, 31 saves on 33 shots for a .939 save percentage with some absolute doozies in there. Overall, it was a great 4-2 win from the boys. Another come from behind win there. Awesome snip from Krebsy. The goal that Peyton Krebs scored was absolutely unbelievable. It was awesome to see Dylan Cousins get a goal at full strength there. I thought overall, this was a game where Dylan Cousins looked really, really well, or looked really, really good, period. He had a very, very, very good chance for goal number 2 that he was robbed on. It was a great save by, I'm blanking on who was in net for San Jose, but really good play from Cousy there. Mackenzie Blackwood, right?
Yep.
Good call, Jake. Thank you. So robbed by Blackwood on that one, but really good game from Cousy, I thought. The game-winning goal from Alex Tuch, dude, I mean, that shorthanded goal. If you haven't seen it, folks, go look it up. I'm sure I retweeted it from the team X account, or the podcast X account. But dude, that play on the penalty kill from Alex Tuch there was nothing short of kick ass, dude.
That's dirty.
He is right now, for my money, dude. I mean, 3 shorthanded goals on the season. Can you have a Selke conversation without including Alex Tuch? I think if you are, you're wrong.
I think you can have the conversation for sure. I don't know if you're going to win that one for Tuch, but I think you can include him in the conversation, and that's a mark of success in itself.
Yeah, and that's all I need is it just because I wouldn't give it to him today either, but I mean, I think he absolutely should be in the conversation. At least he's having a really, really awesome 2-way season so far.
Yeah, 3 shorthanded goals through 21 games is real nice, and he's been a great penalty killer. His speed is lethal.
He's so fast.
Picking off those passes at the point.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I thought Cousins looked good, and I'm happy to hear that because he's somebody that kind of struggled through the beginning part of the year and all last year, and you really need him to be going for you. He's kind of the opposite of what we just talked about with Kulik. I feel that he tends to get knocked off pucks easy and looks a little spindly-legged sometimes.
Which was not supposed to be his game. I mean, DC was, coming out of the draft, projected to be more like a power forward.
Yeah, agreed. But he hasn't. I don't know. To me, he hasn't really filled out a whole lot. So I hope if he can unlock that and start winning more board battles, I think he's going to be lethal because his shot is pretty decent, I think. And
did you see the goal he scored in that San Jose game? That goal he scored was an absolute howitzer from the blue line, dude.
Yeah, for sure. That the passing on that play was it was nice. It was
so good, dude.
And it lends to his IQ too. He was kind of directing traffic at the blue line with the D pairs, kind of knocking the puck back and forth, and then over to him in the slot, the high slot. So I think he's a smart player. I think just getting some more physical tools with him will be it'll unlock more success with him.
Yeah. Before we get into just some general notes on the season so far, Jake, and you have some great stuff here that I want you to go through. There's one more guy that I am just feeling an inherent need to shout out, and that is Zach Benson, dude. I think so. Zach Benson's numbers are not turning anyone's heads, right? No one's looking at Zach Benson's numbers and going, "Oh my God, this guy is unreal." But and he's considered a skill player, but no one's talking about that in a negative way. No one's bitching about Benson being like, "Oh man, he's not putting up points." And I would point the question at you, Jake. Why do we have a skilled player who is putting up no points, but nobody's complaining about him?
Yeah, I think people when he was drafted, he undersized, and I think when you are drafted and you're undersized like that, I'm saying undersized in air quotes, but I think the easy thing to latch onto is that, well, if he's undersized, then he must be very skilled and able to score a lot. But that has just not been his game this year. He hasn't put up a lot of points, like you said, but he's been excellent defensively, and he's very mature with the puck. Going back to the Alex Tuch for Selke, I think Zach Benson could be right up there with Alex Tuch as far as playing well defensively for the Sabres. He's been awesome on the penalty kill. Just when he gets the puck, I'm not worried about what he's going to do with it, like you can be sometimes with a 19-year-old kid. He's very responsible with it and makes good decisions. So yeah, his hockey IQ is phenomenal, and I think that shows. I think people watching the Sabres are generally fairly intelligent about hockey and can see that he is, even if he's not, tickling the twine every night, he is making a positive impact on the games that he's playing. Do you like tickling twine, Dom?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah, dude. Man, and Jake, you said it perfectly, dude. I am so impressed with this kid's game right now, dude. And you said, you don't get nervous. Hell, dude, when he's got the puck, man, I start to get stoked because I think his vision on the ice is absolutely awesome. I think, dude, this kid's going to fill out a little bit more, probably a lot of bit more. I just love Zach Benson's game right now, dude. He's so tenacious, and this guy sticks his face in every single fan that he can find, dude. I don't care if he's standing next to Victor Hedman, who is like 2.5 feet taller than him, bro. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care how big you are, man. He goes to bat for the guys on the team, right? Like the only other guy I really feel like I see do that with consistency right now is probably Dahlin and Clifton. But Benny, dude, anytime something needs to be addressed and he's on the ice, he's the first one there, and he's the smallest guy every time, dude. I just have so much respect for the way that he's carrying himself, and I think he looks awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And as far as the counting stats go, the points, the assists, the goals, those will come. Like a lot of young players come into the league, and offense can come easy to some people, and that's kind of the only part of their game that they have. But that doesn't work in the playoffs, first of all, and second of all, is not a good way to develop. The players that have success come in and figure out the defensive side of things, and the numbers will come later. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, nor am I.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, you got some really great data here to take us through. If I could pass the baton over to you, my good-looking guy.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to do this. Oh, thank you, by the way.
Whoa, back up.
No, so we're 21 games through the season. So once you get to the 20 game mark, that's where the stats, the numbers, you start to get some statistical, meaningful information there. And so I wanted to kind of look at where we are. And I think it's kind of a story of the first month to the second month too, the October to the November. So first off, I just want to talk about the offense. 2 seasons ago, we had the third best offense in the entire NHL. Scoring was not an issue. It was the defensive side of the puck that was the issue. In that season, we had 5 20-goal scorers. So 5 guys that were scoring at least 20 goals. That's a good mark for anyone that doesn't follow the NHL. Getting to 20 goals in the NHL is not easy to do, and having 5 of those guys on your team means your offense is humming a little bit. So we did it that year. The last time before that happened was 2010, 2011, which is the last year that we made the playoffs. So what I'm trying to get at, the offense is humming. We have 5 guys that are on pace for that, and that's not including Dylan Cousins, who has 4 goals right now. He could get hot and very easily hit that 20-goal mark. So I think the odds of that happening are good. I think that's a sign of the offense being healthy. And yeah, keep that rolling. The other part of that kind of plays in is the defensive players pitching into the offense. The team is built from the back end. We have 3 guys that either are or project to be number 1 defensemen in the NHL. So Dahlin, Owen Power, and Bo Byram. All 3 of those guys are playing phenomenally. Bo Byram is the quote-unquote worst of those 3, 13 points in 21 games, and is just a rover out there. I mean, he moves around like no one else. And Nigel, Owen Power, second amongst defensemen in even strength scoring through 21 games with 15 points, trailing only Cale Makar with 1 extra point at 16.
Absolutely unreal, dude. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if either of you guys have seen it. Jake, maybe you have. Owen Power has been getting just shredded this season on X. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand why, dude. He has had a handful, very small handful of defensive blunders this year. And I think you could probably 3 or 4.
Most guys do.
Most guys do. And he's like, I know people are still sick of it, but Owen Power is a very young defenseman still. Defensemen are in their prime at age 28, 29, and 30. He ain't even sniffing that, dude. So, I mean, people got to lay off, dude, because for those couple bad plays, he has been so good, man. He's had a couple 3-point games this season. I just think Owen Power has been really, 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 quite good this season, dude. And those numbers, at least offensively, speak for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I could care less about the couple of defensive gaffes. I mean, when he was drafted, no one was expecting him to come in and be this, stud defensive player. His pedigree was always that he was lethal in the offensive zone at creating offense, both individually and for his teammates. I'm not upset by that at all. I mean, let him create out there, give him avenues to do that, not necessarily stopping chances against. Let other guys do that. I'm fine with that, because I guarantee you, I haven't looked into stats on this, but I guarantee you he is creating more than he is allowing.
I would be willing to bet whatever amount of money that you are correct on that.
And then the other guy, before we get to a question, Dahlin has been incredible. He's tied for 5th in the league as far as defensemen go. He's tied for 5th in scoring. He's got 19 points over the 21 games that he's played, and that's with a very slow start included there. He had 2 assists and only 2 assists through his first 8 games, and he was playing with a little bit of an injury, I think we knew early on in the season. But since that time, he's had 17 points over his last 13 games. He had a 7-game point streak, I think, in there, 7 or 8 games. He's been the true leader on the back end for us. Yeah, Dolls. I mean, there's at this point, what the story with Dahlin is. He's a top 10 defenseman in the NHL. I think you can make a case that he's top 6, top 7. I don't know if you could get him in the top 5 just yet, but he's an elite scoring defenseman. I think there's absolutely potential there for him to, he could be a Norris winner. He could lead the league in points for defensemen. He's got all that potential. I think that offensive potential has always been there, and we've seen that from day one. But I think my favorite thing about him is still just the growth in his defensive game and the jam in his game, dude. I mean, I mentioned him as the other guy that is not hesitating at all to stick up for somebody when he's on the ice. I mean, he's right there every time, dude. And Dolls takes no shit on top of that insane skill. Yeah, for sure. All right, should we hit this question before we move on to I want to talk about special teams too, but yeah, let's do it real quick. What do we got? Nigel, when will they find someone to put the puck in the net on a consistent basis? Kevin needs to add an additional forward that is proven. What are your thoughts there? That's a hot button issue right now that I've seen is people still wanting Kevin Adams to add another scoring player. And my response to that is right now we're sitting in a really solid spot in the playoffs. Now, there have been a handful of games where we haven't put the pucks that we need to in the net. That being said, I still hold out a lot of hope that Jack Quinn is going to find himself. I think that is your answer right there, truly. Especially, and once you get Tage Thompson back too, it's huge. The difference that Tage Thompson makes in your depth chart is massive, right? Yeah. Like when you lose one guy like that, the trickle down effect for the rest of the bottom lines, dude, is the bottom 9 is just crazy. And I think getting Tage Thompson back does a lot. I think Jordan Greenway coming back does a lot. I just feel very confident that the answer is, I'm still holding out hope that it's going to be Jack Quinn. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors too that
Kevin Adams is out there looking to get who he can. I mean, he's there. I've seen a lot of rumors, in fact, and they're not just random people. I mean, Free just reported that they're looking, we're making calls on top 6 forwards. So it's possible that he's still looking around. I just don't want him to sell the farm on it. Jake, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I agree. I hope he is out there looking, and if there's a player they can bring in, I think he should do it.
Absolutely,
no questions asked. I think the point you make on Quinn is interesting, and I agree with you. I think he needs to find it a little bit.
A lot of it.
He's not looked great. He hasn't had the speed that he's had in the past. The burst skating that he has, like, he is a good skater, but he hasn't shown it this year. And I think also on that note, prior to this season, throughout his career, he shot a 12.8% clip. 12.8% of the shots he has goes in the net. This year, any guesses on what he's shooting?
I think it's 0.
No, it's not quite there, but it's 3.3. So it is low. I think he has 1 goal in the year.
He's got an empty netter. That's right.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I think that will come up. I think he will start putting in more points. I don't expect him to get to 50, 60 points, but if you can get 40, 45 points out of Jack Quinn, I think that helps bolster your offense a little bit.
Yeah. I've said it so many times on this podcast, and I'm sticking with it, dude. It feels like the difference maker to me. I think Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn having good offensive output, that is your secret to this team making the playoffs. And I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, unlock those guys for sure. But I think the other side of this, people were upset that Kevin Adams didn't fill the X million that Skinner was occupying, right? So there's still this cap space that they have that they could have gone and added somebody. And I think that's a fair critique. And we've talked about that. And I agree with that. However, Jason Zucker and Jeff Skinner are having fairly similar offensive outputs this season. He's playing for an excellent team with a great offensive environment in Edmonton. I don't think it's crazy that Jason Zucker is kind of your replacement for him. I don't love it. I think there's better options out there. But as far as the production, net, it's pretty much there.
Zucker is outplaying Jeff Skinner point-wise fairly considerably. Last I looked, I think he's got like 5 more points than him on the season, something like that. So, I mean, in terms of production, Zucker is currently well ahead of Jeff Skinner. So, I mean, which is absolutely fine by me. I don't know if that's changed since the last time I looked at it, but I'm pretty sure that Zucker is pretty far ahead of Jeff Skinner in terms of points. Hopefully I don't. Correct. Yeah. Do you have it in front of you?
I do. Yeah. Skinner has 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points, and Zucker's doubling them up. He's got 14 points on the year. So
yeah, like, what are we doing? Yeah. Skinner. Yeah. I mean, he's. I don't know what's going on over there in Edmonton, but he hasn't done a ton.
I think there's some decline there. I mean, I don't think it's the wrong decision to have cut ties with him.
You said it, not me, Jake, but I agree with you.
Incoming Stanley Cup game-winning goal for Jeff.
Yeah, right. I know, right? Fuck me.
Some decline doesn't mean he's a bad player. I don't feel it that way.
No.
All right, so moving along. I did want to talk about special teams because this is where I was mentioning the tale of two teams. So October and November, night and day difference for both of these. Right now on the year, Buffalo's power play is sitting 22nd in the NHL at 17.5%. Not great. You don't want it there. However, they started the year in October, 10 games in October, 6.9% power play, abysmal. They were 32nd out of 32 teams in the NHL. But November, they are sitting 6th in the NHL through November games played, 26.5% on the power play through 11 games, healthy looking power play. I feel that there's a chance they score when they get a call. Yeah, great so far. Have you noticed anything, Nigel, like about that? What's making it click? What I'm seeing in terms of the Sabres power play, when they are the most successful with it, they're managing to catch that guy, that bumper guy in front of the net there. So for those that don't know, the most common power play setup these days that teams are running is typically kind of what you could call like
like a 1-3-1 sort of. And Jake, if you think you disagree with anything I'm saying here, hop in. But usually you got a guy at the top and you got a guy at either wing, and then you have this bumper guy who sits in the middle, kind of in the slot, pretty close to the goalie, and then there's usually a guy behind the net. Usually that bumper player for the Sabres is either Dylan Cousins or Alex Tuch, depending on the power play unit that's out there. But where I'm finding the most success, and I think this is the Rasmus Dahlin effect, when you have a super mobile, elite skilled number one defenseman up at the top, teams have to honor that. And so I think that penalty killer that is, up at that top point has to get a little bit closer to Dahlin than he would like, and therefore allows whoever is in that bumper position to come up the ice a little bit to create a little bit more space. And I'm finding that when we are able to keep that guy active in terms of some shots on goal, that is when our power play has looked lethal. That has been the thing I've noticed the most about the month of November on the power play.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree with you. The bumper position on the power play is the most important on the power play for my money. Having a good bumper player can make or break your power play. It opens up so many lanes and opportunities for you to get the puck to the net if that player is able to shake loose and find a seam. So yeah, I think Cousins and Tuch have done a good job there. I'm not sure if there's any other players that have really slotted in there on a consistent basis, but totally agree with you that that's been night and day difference for them.
Yeah, Zucker's been in that spot too. So
yeah,
yep, for sure, dude.
So yeah, anyways, through November, 6th in the NHL. On the flip side, the PK going down a man. In October, 74.2% in 10 games. It's fine. It's not great. In November, 85.7% in 11 games, which in that period, in the month of November, is also 6th in the NHL. Overall, right now, they're on the season, 12th in the NHL at about an 80% clip. I'm very pleased with that for a penalty kill. Both of those numbers, most teams that make the playoffs are not in the bottom half of the league in penalty killing or power play. So you gotta continue to hammer that, make teams pay when they take a penalty against you, and stuff it down to the other end of the rink when you're on the PK.
Yeah, dude, PK has looked killer. Absolutely. We don't need to talk a ton about it. It's looked really good.
So Nigel, what's next for the Sabres? Where are we heading?
Yeah, we'll buzz through this real quick because we talked about the Sabres for a long time here, but it's fun when it's positive. Next few games. Wednesday, November 27th, we are playing the Minnesota Wild at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that is a home game.
It is.
Black Friday, 11/29, November 29th, we're playing the Vancouver Canucks at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Little come home after your morning shopping and hang out, watch a hockey game. And then Saturday, November 30th at the New York Islanders at 7:30 p.m. Should be those are going to be some tough games there. Minnesota's a really solid team right now. Vancouver, we know what they're about. They've got some very, very elite offensive weapons and defensive weapons in Quinn Hughes. And then we know what the Islanders are. They're not awesome, but they can be an absolute bitch to play against. So,
yeah.
Any quick thoughts on those guys, Jake? Or are you good?
This next couple of weeks is a tough stretch. Minnesota, Vancouver, New York, Colorado, Winnipeg after that. There's some tough games coming up on the schedule. Yeah. So got to keep banking points where you can. That's all I got.
For sure. Tom, you still awake over there, buddy?
Nice. Oh, I've been drinking beer, listening to my buddies talk about Buffalo sports. This is great. I am doing fantastic.
Well, Tom, you have to start talking now. Would you lead us through something to do with these gosh darn Bills?
I'm terrible at that. So, yeah, folks. I mean, this has been a lovely little bye week. I've hoped you all enjoyed our big old win over the Chiefs and be able to kind of just walk around with a little extra pep in your step. Imagine if we lost that game, right? And we had to spend 2 weeks thinking about a Chiefs loss, of course, of anybody, right? Like, thank God we won that game. Don't want to do that? No. So been really, really great. Hope you've all enjoyed it. And we're getting into week 12 here. And we're taking on the 49ers later this weekend on the Sunday Night Football, which we'll talk about in a bit. But before we do get there, I want to just talk a little bit of a midseason check-in. We'll do it a little, albeit briefly here, but just kind of go around the horn here. I'm going to start with Nigel, with you. What's kind of your temperature on the Bills 12 weeks in? Like, what are your prevailing thoughts? What's on the tip of your tongue here?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's similar for a lot of people, man. I'm surprised, honestly. Nobody expected this. I certainly did not expect this. I think of the three of us, I was the one that was the most negative in terms of my record prediction on the season. And if you had told me that at this point we'd be 9-2, I would have said you're an absolute buffoon. So I make no mistake, happy to hold my L on that one. But yeah, my prevailing thought 12 weeks in, dude, pleasantly surprised.
I'm very stoked that my 13-4 is still alive, boys. And
Hell yeah.
and very realistic. So I'm gonna parade that over the both of you. I hope you know.
For sure, you should.
Jake, any kind of just like what's your prevailing thought of where this Bills team is at this point? Like anything that's sticking in your mind of what's happened or what's gonna be coming up here in the next few weeks?
I think Nigel said it well. Like a little surprised just with the turnover on the roster. Like there was kind of a big exodus of major named players on both sides of the ball over the offseason. So surprised, feeling good, feeling 69 and fine, I suppose is the way I'd put
it. Nice. I think that's just such a great symptom of we're 8 years into this build with Beane and McDermott, and other teams don't get that, right? We've seen so many other coaches get fired after their second year, and we've been able to sustain that. It helped that McDermott had success early, right? That was able to get to the playoffs in his first year, and then kind of just go from there. So we broke the drought, and boom, boom, boom. So that was awesome. But the fact that we've been able to build, this is a system now. This isn't just, hey, Beane is trying to go get some free agency players and hopefully hits in the draft. He and McDermott are able to set up a system where of the players and the type of players with the traits and the personality traits, both physically and the character traits of what are the men that we want to get into this building. And now we're seeing the fruit of this, right? We can watch Micah Hyde quasi retire, Jordan Poyer go to Miami, Mitch Morse leave, with Stephon Diggs go to Houston. Like we can watch all these players leave and we can still get almost better, right? Like arguably better in some of those situations.
Nothing almost about it, dude. It is a better team.
Right? Because man, Nigel and I were talking about this week over in a text thread. Like I think it's because the very talented rooms, right? Very young, very talented with lots of opportunity. But also, I'd like to say that most of these guys, they go to war for each other, right? This is the right combo of players right now. Not that to say that we've had technically more talented teams in the past. I'm thinking 2020, what a team. That was awesome to see. But this might be the right combination, which I think will help push us through into January. But I think this is cool. We're seeing the fruit of all this happening over these last couple of years of trust in the process.
Yeah, baby.
I'm in it. I'll eat that for breakfast.
Well said, Tom.
So, just kind of quickly, what kind of needs to go right from now into the end of the season? My big one that I want to talk about is health, and I'm there's kind of two sides of this coin. Right now, last week when we played the Chiefs, we had a bunch of players out. We had Keon Coleman, we had Amari Cooper out, we had Matt Milano activated, but still not. Well, sorry, his window opened, but not activated. Right, we had a whole slew of players who are not healthy. We're gonna get more healthy, and then we have to stay healthy. We've been a freaking mash unit entering the playoffs the last few years. It's been terrible. Seeing AJ Klein come in off the freaking before he goes to Disney World, we need to stay healthy, and I think that we have a fighter's chance.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. Sorry, Nash. I think we're in a good place to kind of do that too, right? Like the division is all but locked up, and if the number one seed isn't really in play, then you could be in a position where you don't really need to lean on guys that are banged up in the last 2-3 weeks of the season. You can rest accordingly to help them be healthy for the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, totally, dude. And Tom, there isn't really anything for me to add here. The most important thing going forward is, I guess, if I was legally required to add in one more thing, it would be Josh Allen continuing his tendency and willingness to check down and just take the positive gains. I think that is probably the second most important thing to this team's success going down the stretch here. But number one is unequivocally staying healthy. Give me Give me a stretch and a playoff run of Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano playing football together. Like, inject it into my veins, dude. Please, I deserve this.
We all do. We all do. That's what all I want for Christmas.
When I say
in that.
I speak for all of Bills Mafia, dude. Like, it is so, we deserve to watch this team go in healthy, dude. So everybody just keep the prayers up that everybody stays healthy. Yeah, if you want to require me to say something else in addition, it's Josh Allen continuing to show the maturity he has so far this season.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Now, fun thing about the division. Yeah, this is some Tom Brady era shit, dude. Like, this is insane. We have a possibility of clinching the division on Sunday. There's a possibility. There's a world where that happens.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins are the only ones within a spitting distance of anything happening. If they're playing Thursday nights at 8:20 on Thanksgiving.
Wait a minute. I thought the Dolphins were supposed to win the Super Bowl this year.
No, they are. They still have a chance, Nigel. So we got to keep them, right? You know, we can't quite put them on the spit yet.
Okay, sorry.
Get it warmed up, would you? The Dolphins are playing the Packers on Thursday night for Thanksgiving. If they lose that game and we get to Sunday and we win against the Niners, 2024 AFC East divisional champs. Woo!
Love it.
So there is a world, and if not, then I think it'll happen in the following week. But anyway, but that's pretty cool. I think to be locked up December 1st is pretty
that'd be sick.
So, looking forwards, our final 6 games look like this. We are hosting the Niners. We are going to the Los Angeles Rams. We are going to the Lions in Detroit. We are hosting the Patriots. We are hosting the Jets. We are going to New England and playing in Foxborough against the Patriots. So over that final stretch, I got to tell you guys, I mean, there's a world that we go 6-0. There's a world, but I think more realistically, it's 5-1. I think the Lions game is going to be a hell of a game. That's the game of the year. I mean, after Bills Chiefs, it's going to be Bills Lions. Like, that's the next one, you know?
Yeah.
But man, God forbid something bad happens. We go 4-2. Then we're 13-4. I
was waiting for that.
I'm just saying. That seems worst case scenario that we drop to over those last 6.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, when you can take a moment and just zoom out, you know, and somebody tells you that 13-4 is going to be your team's record in a full NFL season, you take that literally every single time and you run away with it.
We've never done it.
No,
we've never done that.
I mean, it's an unbelievable record. Yeah, dude, like, there's nothing to be upset about with that. Now, I mean, just because I am a little bit, you know, stitious. Obviously, the worst case scenario is that they drop all of them. But
yes, Nigel, that is possible.
The more realistic, you know, bad case scenario is that they go 4-2. But I just need to put it out there to the football gods that I am aware, we are aware, that the worst possible case would be that they lose the rest of the games, and we're just cognizant that that's a possibility.
How hurt are we as a fan base? What is wrong with us?
It can all be taken away at any moment.
Yes. Now, just some fun. We in August, before season started, we did some bold predictions. Just want to do a little check-in on that. And the pals, I hope, have not looked at my stats on the doc, so I hope they know. Myself, Tom, I predicted that Curtis Samuel would have 49 rushing attempts, 2.9 attempts per game. Any takers on the over-under on that one, guys?
I'm going to take the under.
Hammering the under.
Anybody have a guess of how many he's had?
I'm going to guess 13.
Oh, I was going to go single digits. What is it, Dom?
Yeah, you are aggressive, Nigel. It is 3 attempts for 6 yards on the season. So not used how I thought. That's fine. We'll see. Maybe he's starting to heat up, so maybe something happens. Now I'm going to pile together Jake and I. Jake predicted that Von Miller and Groot would have 20-plus sacks. I predicted that Ed Oliver and Groot would have 20-plus sacks. And boy, oh boy, do our boys need to be productive. Groot at the moment has 5.5 sacks on an 8.5 sack 17 game pace. Ed Oliver has 1. Not going to give you his 17 game pace. And Von Miller has 4. So 6 sacks game pace. 17 game pace, excuse me. So yeah, who knows, right? If this, to be honest with you, this team does well if our D line like comes alive at the end of the year. So maybe we'll see some production. Who knows? But not so great. Nigel predicted that Terrell Bernard would lead the NFL linebackers in turnovers. He has currently 2 interceptions. So now maybe not necessarily that particular stack, but the Bills lead the league in turnover differential at plus 14. So that's pretty good.
Pretty sure that's what I said anyway.
Yeah, pretty sure that's what you said, right? Yeah. And that means they're 5th total in turnovers, excuse me. So I think, I mean, this is a defense that is going for those big splash plays, and it's
absolutely
going pretty well. Now his Nigel's other prediction was that Ray Davis would supplant James Cook as the number 1 running back. He has not. Any takers on the number of touches for James Cook? So it includes rush attempts and receptions.
For the year?
For the year.
I'm going to guess. Oh, God.
Okay, it's 162. Just to keep moving.
I was going to be closer to 200, so I would have been way over.
And Davis is at 79. So not quite there, but still in a pretty like important role for this offense. It's clear that, hey, we have a 1-2 punch. So I like the thought, and I know it was a bold prediction, so you had to be bold and say, kind of take a little bit of a different slant there, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
It's also not the end of the year yet, too.
That's true.
It's
it
true.
could happen, right?
It's
It
true.
could happen. He did say by week 9, so we're past that. So
fuck.
I don't give him. Yeah, don't give him any credit. And then finally, Jake, I would like you to put on your crown that you have behind you, because you have nailed a bold prediction so far on Mr. Tyler Bass, the one that none of us believed in. So, ready? Jake predicted that he would tie his season stat. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Let me restart. That Tyler Bass's season stats would tie or be better than his career average of 84.9%. He's currently at 86.4.
Wow, Jake, well done.
And we're down on him, right? I don't know if we should be as down. Maybe it's the timing that we need him to figure out and kick the kicks you need to.
Right.
And his other part of this was that he would set a new career long. Jake, do you remember this?
I do. I forgot it. I saw it happen, but I forgot I made the prediction.
Yeah. Not even a career long, a franchise freaking record of 61 yards to beat the Miami Dolphins and essentially close the book on them for the year. So nice job, bud.
Hey, thank you. Something about a blind squirrel.
I'm hoping, to be honest, I hope that continues, because that means then Tyler's playing well and it helps us through the end of the year here. Okay, so real quick, boys, let's fly through a little bit of prep for the Niners coming to Buffalo next week, Sunday, December 1st. Sunday Night Football in front of the world at 8:20 p.m. We're hosting the Niners. Just some quick little thoughts on this from me. The Niners are 5-6 right now and are reeling. It's an injury-riddled team. And to be honest, I'm not sure they're going to be much more healthy coming to Buffalo. So I think this is a team that we need to make sure that we just take care of our business. However, they're going to be desperate. They're at the bottom of their division. They're at the bottom of the NFC West, which is insane. They're defending Super Bowl champs. No, sorry. They went to the Super Bowl. They were defending NFC champs. Let me rephrase that. Defending NFC champs. So you know that they're trying to save face, so they're going to be dangerous, but this has to be a team that we just go in and take care of.
Are injuries the only thing that's gone wrong for them, or do you see other symptoms?
I'd say there's probably a good case to be made that their slumping is a major factor or consequence of the injuries, for my money.
I mean, you go in thinking you're going to have Christian McCaffrey, one of the best offensive weapons in the year, and he hasn't played, right?
Yeah.
Until recently. George Kittle's beat up. Brock Purdy has a shoulder problem. Nick Bosa was out last week. Like
one of their receivers got fucking shot.
That too.
He's playing now, though.
I know.
Shout out Ricky Pearsall.
So, I mean, I guess I don't feel I have enough of background knowledge to tell you whether or not there's something else going on, but I would say injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big storyline for them coming in. I still think, I mean, just knowing what we know about this Bills defense, which is they're prone to give up the runs, right? 2 words, and those 2 words are Christian McCaffrey. I mean, for my money, he is still the best. I mean, I guess Saquon's making a case now, but or Derrick Henry. But for my money, as an overall back, I still think Christian McCaffrey is the most talented guy in the league. I know he's probably still coming back from injury. There's probably still some conditioning that needs to ramp up, but don't let this guy break the game wide open because he'll ruin your day.
Yes, sir. Now, McDermott is 7-0 off the bye week, so the guy knows how to prepare a team to get ready to go. So I have all the faith in the world that he'll have this Bills team ready to deal with whatever the Niners can cook up and send our way. But it's gonna be a big one, and it's gonna be in front of the world, right? It's 8:20 off of Thanksgiving weekend. Like, everybody's gonna be watching and hanging out, so this will be a great one to have. Just put a nice marquee win. Hosted in Buffalo, let the Bills Mafia kind of come alive and show off what we got. So I think that's going to be important. Any other prevailing thoughts, boys?
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
I love it. All right, folks, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving. Please give us a like and a follow. Hit that little ding bell guy to get us some notifications when we go live. And Tom, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for spending some time with us. Please give us a like and a follow on Instagram, X, TikTok, and our YouTube channel at Let's Go Buff Pod. These are my pals, Jake and Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Go Bills, go Sabres, let's go Buffalo.